Yo, what is up, my friends? It is Hippo, and I'm so delighted to be here, not sober, and watching The Electric State with you guys. Now, The Electric State is a 2025 movie directed by the short Russo brother, Joe, and on that note, Anthony Russo did mysteriously go missing during the film's production, so if you have any details pertaining to that case, let us know in the comments below. But without any further ado, let's actually talk about The Electric State's production because it was a pretty controversial one. Before the movie was even watchable, it was catching criticism following the announcement that it would be using AI voice modulation.
Attacks demand a strong response.
This does mark the film as the first of two AI Bill Clintons. Insert Dr. Doofenshmirtz meme.
Miz, you're just a fucking loser, but fuck you.
Now, given the opportunity to address this, the Russo brothers really just doubled down on this. They made the case that it was good for film, that it was inevitable, all that sort of stuff. And all the meanwhile, the film was catching heat just because of how it looked. It's based on The Electric State, a graphic novel, a book, a really interesting collection of artwork made by Simon Stålenhag. It evokes such a unique, intense, and strong atmosphere. It plays with perspective and scale in a really unique way. And when you compare it to what The Electric State is doing with attempting to emulate that, it just completely falls flat, right? We have this image of this robot carrying a van. They were very proud of this. I think it was all over the marketing for the movie. And it's just such an ugly shot. It's not using the composition or size differences in any meaningful way. Take a look at how the artist of these iconic works uses angles, fog, lighting, contrast, and color and dimensions to evoke atmosphere. And then you look at this shot from the film, we see a robot statically walking from the front as it moves throughout this ridge. There's no attempt to play with the shot's composition or contrast the robot on anything. It's just flat. We see the way the Russo brothers try to emulate Stålenhag's signature style too in this climactic Ready Player One-esque final battle, and it really just doesn't come through. I suppose Avengers Endgame-esque battle is more apt in this scenario, as they are the directors of Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, if you didn't know. This is the sort of problem we might run into for a lack of trying, right? But no, there wasn't a lack of trying. Let's not discredit this. They did try, and you can see in some of these, it's one-to-one in the artwork. They actually mirrored this perfectly. What really is, I think, the issue is when you're trying to adapt iconic still images into a moving 2-hour image, like how do you avoid that problem of cutting back to Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt, you know, when you need people talking? Like, you can't just have a 2-hour moving shot of these images. That's not a movie. You have to fill it in with something. And so I sort of sympathize, but you know, it could be good. It does kind of feel like the scale was not paid mind to. Like, they have this big robot who's like a big version of Chris Pratt's little robot buddy. And then at one point there's like this cat bot, but that's about it for scale. All of the creative robot designs they put into these like small little gimmicky dudes. And I don't know, that's kind of disappointing because, you know, the original artwork wasn't centered around small guys. It was centered around big guys. We're the big guys. So that's the failed visuals. Let's talk about that writing. What are we left with? Well, Ready Player One. An orphan lives in a near future post-apocalyptic world where people put things on their head that leads them to a different life that's digitized and everything sucks and there's like corporate overlords. There are these corporate buildings that loom over dilapidated, smushed together suburbs. And one detail that I really like is when you look at Japan or France, their buildings are just sleek and imposing, but when you look at America's, it's covered in ads. Does this mean there's a Burger King in there, or is it literally just like a billboard functionally? I don't know. Throughout the movie, the script will mostly just reference better stuff.
Everybody likes zagnuts.
I'm not eating the freaking Masters of the Universe tie-in zagnuts in the original packaging.
Go eat a lunchbox.
The G.I. Joe lunchboxes don't have lunch in them. They store lunch for children.
Reference.
Oh, I love products. Oh, I love being a consumer. Yeah, you could put the zagnut in the G.I. Joe box.
Just like in Ready Player One with T.J. Miller's IROC bounty hunter character, you do have Giancarlo Esposito playing this guy who goes into this digitized remote robot body that looks absolutely ridiculous. Doesn't matter that it looks just like it does in Simon's original art. Gus is giving, Arnim Zola here. The Russo brothers directed that movie with that guy. They did that. In Ready Player One, Ben Mendelsohn, his company has these gray robot goons the Sixers, I think they're called, the Suxers, whatever, the sex havers. And in this movie, you have Stanley Tucci's company has these gray robot goons who have the same body as Giancarlo Esposito. So yeah, Giancarlo unfortunately doesn't get the benefit that TJ Miller's character did in the Steven Spielberg directed film Ready Player One, where he gets like his own model. He's just kind of relegated to being like the rest of these robot goons. He gets scenes where he like plans with the corporate overlord guy who's played by Stanley Tucci, and of course is played by Ben Mendelsohn in Ready Player One. These corporate overlord guys, they're up to no good. They're up to no good, and they're greedy. I'll tell you what, they're greedy. The main difference that Electric State brings over Ready Player One is that instead of people putting this thing on their head and going to this digital oasis, they put this thing on their head and they go into a different body, but they're in, like, most of the people that use this are in the same place. So like Millie Bobby Brown has this foster dad who's like always using this robot body.
So important to Ted, why doesn't Ted tell me himself?
Because my frontal cortex is in Vegas with Cindy Crawford. And I'm not missing that for you.
We get explained too that these robot bodies were initially made as a military response to like the Omnic crisis. Like there's this robot uprising. The humans can't fight back against the robots, so they just become robots. They create these robots that they can kind of remotely interface into. It makes you think maybe of that Elon Musk held event, that trillionaire held event, where you were told that there were robots, but it was actually just dudes remote controlling them. So thanks for Electric State for reminding me of that, I guess. So they're made for combat, and you have the guy from Seinfeld who's just always wearing this. The one time he takes it off, the one time is when he has a home intruder and he needs to protect his home. He watches TV in this thing, he masturbates in it, he sleeps in it, but when he needs to protect his home from intruder, he gets out of the combat mech and it just is like, I'm the guy from Seinfeld and I'm going to beat you with a bat. And that goes exactly how you think it would.
You are looking at the captain of the 1953 Topeka varsity wrestling team.
We literally get exposited to in the first 5 minutes of this movie that these robot bodies are made for combat and defense against robots. But then this dude has to fight a robot and he's like,
I'm going to take it off.
And in that aforementioned exposition, they don't only talk about the robot bodies, but why they were made. The robot uprising, the Omnic crisis, the robots fought back and we were losing. This leads us to our first major issue with the movie's writing and themes, and that's just bad timing. Like, sorry, I don't care about robots right now. Let the clanker die. There is this one scene where remote-controlled Gus is about to execute this little robot buddy, and Millie Bobby Brown is like, "You're heartless." And then Gus quips back,
"You can't be heartless to things with no heart."
Which, first of all, doesn't even make sense because, like, a child's drawing doesn't have a heart. But if I go and rip up a child's drawing in front of them, that's heartless. But even so, in context, aura, bars, like, am I supposed to be disagreeing with the dude? This is like a ChatGPT that's only acting cute so that you're endeared to it. Kill it. Get it out of here. Gus's character is doing the right thing in this scenario, but then I'm supposed to, feel like he's a mean guy? Because I don't. It's almost a tone-deaf movie to make right now. Like, we do not care about the anthropomorphized robots. We just don't. Get it out of here. We got better things to see. So in this world, it's illegal to harbor a bot. They're all supposed to be in this massive bot concentration camp. And Millie Bobby Brown runs away from home with this robot buddy. Now, this robot buddy is actually a cartoon character from her and her brother's childhood. Brother. Yes, brother. Millie Bobby Brown's character has a mysteriously gone brother. He's missing or presumed dead, and we only have seen him through flashbacks where he went to college and Millie Bobby Brown is living a bad life. Their parents are abusive, and her brother's like, "I'm going to quit college." She's like, "No, don't do that." And he's like, it's like almost giving Folger's commercial. It's really weird.
But if Cosmo went to college, Jesse would visit him all the time.
How dare you? Jesse has a jetpack.
Okay, I'll build you a jetpack.
Fine. Deal. I love a jetpack.
What are you doing?
You're my present this year.
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
So Millie Bobby, or Michelle in the movie, and her brother love this cartoon hero that has somehow come to life as a robot. Meanwhile, our other protagonist, played by Crispy Rat, who is called Keats, he also has a little robot buddy, this guy. Together, Crispy Rat and Millie Bobby will break into the robot concentration camp. Not only that, they'll ultimately rise up and fight Stanley Tucci's evil corporation. And I'm not even going to hold this out on you. They robbed her brother. They kidnapped Millie Bobby Brown's brother because he's such a visionary. He's so creative. He was going to change the world so well.
I'm moving home.
You do that and I'll pee in your garbage can. Remember when I said you were going to change the world? Have you done that yet?
Not exactly.
Then I suggest you get your ass back to college.
That they had to use him to like make the metaverse.
Our world is a tire fire floating on an ocean of piss. Always has been. Christopher gives humanity the chance to leave all that suffering behind.
They want to ultimately make the Oasis. This movie's goal is to be Ready Player One. In the end, they want to get to that point of being Ready Player One, and they need Millie Bobby Brown's brother to do that. He's a historical legend in the making, a true visionary, so Stanley Tucci needed him.
Get your ass back to college.
So that's Millie Bobby and her deal. Chris Pratt, on the other hand, his haircut gets bullied by a robot, and then he gets a haircut.
What kind of beans?
Kind of beans.
He could use a haircut.
Okay, cool. And now he's Star-Lord. So he goes from this kind of greasy guy to Peter Quill, and I do feel like I'm kind of doing a disservice in saying that, but like he just kind of is doing that. Like Joe Russo pulled him to the side after making him slap Thanos in the face, and he's like, hey, do you want to do this again in another movie? And Chris Pratt probably said back,
How much money?
He does that. I'm a cool guy. I don't feel emotions, but I'm cool. But I'm also clumsy and silly, and I'll sing. But also, I do secretly, I have a big heart, and I'm cool. I'm a cool guy who wears sunglasses, but I'll also trip and fall, and it won't affect my coolness because I've got that Chris Pratt energy. Like, I don't know, man. That's Peter Quill. I don't know who Keats is.
Taco, hit it.
Taco. Hit it. And then a taco robot wearing a sombrero plays a piano rendition of Don't Stop Believin'. The robots are all just gimmicks. There's Mr. Peanut, who is played kind of poorly by voice acting Woody Harrelson.
I'd tip my hat, but, it's bolted on.
The baseball robot sings Take Me Out to the Ball Game, and the male woman robot talks about delivering packages as a metaphor for everything. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever come back. Wait a minute, I kind of fuck with the baseball guy. Heavy. We have this disillusioned group of robots led by Mr. Peanut who are out in the desert, not in the concentration camp, who are wary of humans because of the concentration camp. I can talk. And throughout, I'm not even going to do it again. And throughout the movie, Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby, they warm them up to humans and vice versa. And then at the end, Chris Pratt's robot buddy, he's like, it's time, Peanut. Metal and meat working together for once. And I'm like supposed to be taking this shit seriously.
It's time, Peanut. Metal and meat together.
It's like that Rick and Morty episode with the spider peace treaty. They're like, oh my God, we're going to renegotiate the deal of this man and Mr. Peanut peace treaty. Bill Clinton's going to shake the peanut hand guy, his hand, and they're going to order a Domino's pizza and sign the treaty. Yay.
Not a bad trade for Spider Piece.
This gaggle of ridiculous one-note joke gag characters is kind of collected-ish throughout the film, but also they just kind of show up. I don't know. It's so hackney and like thrown together, it feels like. They just don't develop the characters at all, and the robots, again, are supposed to be sympathized with, but the movie's writing, if anything, just reinforces what I said about how they're just like ChatGPTs that are anthropomorphized for us to like them. I oftentimes feel that the movie is playing in our faces. There's a scene where Michelle and Keats first arrive to this robot utopia, and Mr. Peanut is lamenting about his vision for the place. Literally, as he's saying his line about how robots can evolve past the labels that humans put on them, the haircut salon robot is like fiending and in heat over the fact that Chris Pratt has a lot of hair that it can cut.
Robots can evolve past the job descriptions humans stuck on them. They can pick up a new trail. Maybe even find their true self.
Because it hasn't had hair to cut, because it only lives with other robots. And so this robot is upset because it's a haircut robot, but it doesn't have any hair to cut until Chris Pratt shows up. And again, this haircut robot is revealed as Mr. Peanut is lamenting about how robots need to like evolve beyond their programming or whatever.
Hey, whoa, Mr. Scissors, we don't do that anymore.
And I'm supposed to like what? Believe that the baseball that can only sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" is leading like a life that is just like is equal to a human's. Like it's not. It's a computer program about baseball. Like what? The humans get so much repetitive and Netflix dialogue. It really screams that second screen mandate where they need to constantly repeat what's happening and remind you of their deal. Millie Bobby Brown is always just like, oh, my brother. And Chris Pratt is always like, I'm Star-Lord. And you know, it's like it gets to a point.
Out of here, then, could be your terrible idea is slightly less terrible.
Ke Kwan is in this. He plays a doctor who did something important in the past with Millie's brother, working for the evil company, and you know, they need to find him. The plot of the movie is really built on this for a while. He's like set up as the big thing they need to find to get into the concentration camp to really do some damage. And he's on screen for like 5 minutes, maybe 10. And then again, he becomes even more Arnim Zola than Gus was somehow. Really makes you think of the Russo's previous film, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. He just screws off and becomes a green computer. Chris Pratt's robot buddy dies during the final, Avengers Endgame battle, and you're supposed to be sad, I guess. And meanwhile, Millie Bobby Brown is exploring the metaverse and talking to Stanley Tucci about vague platitudes of life and death and philosophy, all the worst things in a script. And then the robot is alive. He's a Russian nesting doll, and he pops out of himself. And he's like, I was just resting, idiot. You were sad? And then he has to do the Star-Lord thing. He's like, I wasn't even sad. Sad? I wasn't sad. Saturated, warm, Christmas decorated room where they cry and say a billion sappy lines, and then like Max Richter type music comes on. It kind of sounds like The Nature of Daylight, it's like, oh, no, 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 no. And he's just Cosmos, Millie and him crying, and they exchange beautiful words, and they watch the Cosmos show, and they're crying, and then the brother dies, and it's just like, no, it doesn't work. You need to stop. You need to slow down. And like, let's have them talk about something real, not just how amazing they are and how much they love each other.
Remember when I said you were going to change the world?
I do.
Have you done that yet?
Not exactly.
Then I suggest you get your ass back to college.
It's ham-fisted in a way we rarely see anymore, so respect to that. At the end of the movie, Millie Bobby gets to deliver a message to the entire world by sunset. What I will say is I mess with the fact that, she pushed real change forward through violent revolution. Like, yeah, cool. And then there's like this helicopter visual. I like that when the robot goons do it. And then like when Gus does it really intentionally and like lets himself get carried away. That was kind of cool. That was kind of aura. But yeah, I really didn't like this movie. It was just kind of boring, thematically all over the place, unfocused. It felt so bland and small, even though it wanted to be the exact opposite of that. And again, it has its moments, but the question I just keep coming back to is, where is Anthony Russo? Is he okay?
It's not as hard as it may seem because we're using the source material, because there's something in it that we love, right? So it's like something that we really value. So honoring the source material actually becomes kind of easy because it's sort of like part of our motivation for using it in the first place in a weird way, Anthony Russo explained. Look, we always think like a comic book or a graphic novel, it's so radically different than a film. You can't do the exact same thing in both formats. So we don't have an expectation on ourselves to do that. In fact, we think it's our job that if we are going to reinterpret something from one form to another, it's our job to make it feel fresh, new, and surprising to ourselves and to audiences. So for us, it's kind of baked into how we work, not to say that we never have those kinds of issues, but it kind of lines up pretty naturally.
You succeeded with Captain America, but here I think you just done messed up. What I will say though is I wonder how much of that is on Netflix. It does have a lot of the markings of a very Netflix with tampered final product. So I'd be interested to see the Russo brothers cut of the Electric State. So let's get that hashtag going. Hashtag who up Russo and they Electric State. What? Overall, I don't know. I don't actually believe the Russo brothers didn't care about this or don't love the original work. I think they do and did. I think they misfired. I think they really need to direct Ready Player 3. But okay, no, seriously, that's going to be all. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe, but don't subscribe if you're not going to come back and watch my videos, because y'all be fucking with me, I swear to God. What's there to say other than that? Guys, make sure to like and subscribe. I have to give a massive, massive, massive shout out to my members, Cat McKee, Phoenix E, and McSnickerbottom. You guys are the goats. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. All the love. Other than that, have a great day or night. My friends, Hippo out.